it might sound cheesy, but you better take advantage of all that cuteness
Yes.
because it's very rare.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Conscious Leader Podcast. And today, my guest, Nicole Nunez, is the connector that you need in your life and in your business. Help me to welcome my friend who I met actually online. I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, was it LinkedIn that we initially met?
So it was
Oh,
Facebook.
Facebook,
We
Facebook.
met in and another Facebook group.
Another group, another Facebook group, and guess what it is? And we bonded because we are there to support our children. So my daughter's an author, her son's an author, and we just both
Yeah.
aligned. We connected. Now we're supporting each other. And guess what? I brought her on the podcast today so that she could be the connector to connect those areas, those spaces in your life and in your business so you can get to that next level. So help me welcome Nicole. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jaleesa. Thank you so much, everyone. I am super, super excited to be on the podcast. Thank you so much for having me as a guest today and allowing me to share some with your audience. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, I'm not even going to introduce you too much. I want you to do that because you're the best person for it. So
Yes.
please share with us who you are, who you serve, and what's your mission.
Yes, yes, yes. As Delisa said, my name is Nicole Nunez. I am the connector. What does that mean, Nicole? What is a connector? So basically, I am the person that you come to for your resources. Ever since I was a child, I've been the connector. In early adulthood, I plan all the vacations. I give all the answers. Anytime somebody needs something to research, my family and friends are calling me. And I actually turn that into my calling for you all, right? For the culture. I am a licensed financial services professional, also a children's book author, as Delisha said. I really feel that it is important to make sure that our community is educated to make the best decisions for their specific situations. So that means financial literacy. That means really pushing literacy in general in our young children because they are the future. They are the ones that we have to lean on once we get to of age where what we say no longer matters. So that is really, really important to me. And basically, my mission is to empower families with young children to help them get their children financially set when they come of age. So I deal with um, child savings plans, living benefits for children and families. So that's really my main mission, just to make sure that we are prepared financially, to make sure that our children are educated and educated in a fun way, and amazing travelers, not only mentally, not only through imagination, but through reading. Opening a book, making sure that you're cultured will get you everywhere in the world. So that's pretty much the most part of me as far as experience wise. I've been in corporate America for over 20 years and really have just taken that experience to give the best I can to my clients.
I love it.
So,
And I love the
yeah,
piece that you spoke on with the financial literacy and
yes,
also the literacy in just reading, because literacy covers not just reading, but all the other areas. And
yes,
in
absolutely.
communities around the world and in Latino and Black communities, it is so very much important to have a financial legacy, not only for
Right.
yourself, but for all of these generations. And what you're doing, spot on. I am here for it
Absolutely.
because if we don't do the
Thank
work,
you.
who's going to do it?
Right. And it's true, they're not teaching our kids that. They didn't teach us that. Forget about not teaching our kids. They're going a little bit further, but they didn't teach us that. They're not teaching our kids. And as you stated, the Black and Brown communities, we are behind. It's not a jab because it's our community, it's our people, but communities of, other persuasion, white communities, Indian communities, they are teaching their children. They're taking their kids to the bank
Yeah,
at 8 years old, 7 years old, and teaching them how to write a check and teaching them what it means to balance their account.
yeah,
And even if we don't go that route, I do feel that it's very important to start our children early. I remember I used to get allowance, right? I
yeah.
remember you had to do chores. Um, even when it comes spiritually, right? I used to pay tithes at an early age. I talked to my son about it. And as you mentioned, Kai is 3. So he knows that this is his business. These are his books. I bring him with me. As you saw for our episode, he was in there. He touches every product. He wants to have his own meetings. I catch him sneaking in the office on the computer. So they very much so emulate what we show them.
100%. I'm the same way with my daughter because you know what? If we don't teach you, who will? And I need
Exactly.
to know that when my time on this planet is finished, you
Right.
cannot just only survive, but you can thrive. And you can
Right.
thrive in
Right.
a healthy, moral way. You know, sometimes we forget
Right.
the moral part of it, but
Yeah.
what you're instilling in your son is so valuable. And I did the
Yeah.
same thing with my daughter Faith. When you
Yeah.
mention other communities, how they support their children, they
Mm-hmm.
do support. Years ago, a few decades ago,
Uh-huh.
I remember I was 19 or 20 years old and
Mm-hmm.
I was in the military and I was working with this young, another soldier. We were in the same department,
Mm-hmm.
and his mother had an apartment building. Now she was a single mother. She's Asian. They're
Right.
from China.
Right.
It was a divorced family, but she struggled to keep the building. She rented out all the rooms and stuff like that. But she made sure that any money he made, it went into a savings, and then she took the saving and she multiplied it by watching the condos. And then he was training me at the same
Mhm.
time because we were friends. So I was learning so much about investment
Right. Right.
that
Right.
I didn't learn at home or in school or anything. And
Right.
when you got like sometimes they'll have 5% down. She was
Right.
like they already scouted the area. She did that. She took
Mhm.
him with her, not just him, but
Right.
the other siblings the other children that she had, and
Right.
he put his 5% down. And at the time, the condo I think was like 200,000 or something like that. So it was a
Right.
bit
Right.
on the
Right.
lower end, but it didn't matter because she already
Right.
had a financial plan and financial portfolio because she
Right.
recognized, okay, he's here helping the family. So the other
Right.
boys that went off to the university and went off to work for bigger corporations, you know, there's always one that
Right.
have to give. Like
Right.
there's always a
Right.
sacrifice somewhere. But
Always.
yeah, and
Always.
they invested, but he was that
Yeah.
first one, and he laid that foundation for the other siblings, the other brothers and sister,
Right.
to follow a path so they can not only have wealth but have generational wealth so they can grow in
Absolutely.
the family. So I 100%
Absolutely.
like what you did. And because I learned so much before I had Faith, similar to what you're doing with your son Kai, like I
Hmm.
already was like, okay, what are you going to do? How are we going to do this? And yes,
Right.
if you do decide, all right, my children are here, maybe even if it's just a lemonade stand they want to have,
Right.
yeah, something
Right.
as simple as that. Teach them about capital. How do you get
Absolutely.
investors? Right? These are family and friends. Start off. Yeah, go ahead.
And it might sound cheesy, but you better take advantage of all that cuteness
Yes.
because it's very rare. It's very rare that somebody's going to say no to a child. I mean, unless it's like a crazy rude kid or
Yeah.
something like that. But I can't tell you how much nasty lemonade I done bought, how much cookies I done bought. And I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to just here,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
take it's a donation.
it's true.
I got to the point where I'm like, I don't just take it. Oh no, here, no. You know what? Pay it forward. What I have started saying was pay it forward. Because
Yes,
before I used to be like, here, I don't want it. But now, because it's even a lesson in that, right?
yes.
I am I'm a donation, but this is still a paid for product. So you need to give this to someone else in need, or you need to pay it forward and gift this to someone else,
Ah,
right? But we have to take advantage of all that cuteness because one thing that we know for sure, you being in the military, me being in corporate, and then you coming out of the military into civilian life and still with those leadership skills, all that's going to fade away. People are not just going to be buying just because we're cute
no.
and we're selling it, right? They're going to want to make sure that they're getting some type of substance. But when they're cute and they're little, they don't care that that lemonade is 5 pounds of sugar and a little bit of water, and they don't care. They don't care that the cake got a little bit of dirt in it. No one cares. No one cares because, oh my gosh, look at this cute little baby. I need to buy whatever it is that they're selling.
Yeah.
And we have to take advantage of that. And I think it's really, really amazing. Going back on one other thing that you said, sacrifice.
Yeah.
We have noticed as the generations are coming up, right? As they're coming up, this latest generation, the level of sacrifice is disappearing. They just are very entitled. They feel that everything is just supposed to fall in their laps, while still, and some of our generation is guilty as well, but still we know we have to sacrifice. Like that mother and your friend who sacrificed not going to university with all the other siblings, maybe he wanted to, but they knew that there was a greater goal at the end. They knew this sacrifice is not going to go in vain. And I think you and myself, um obviously we have to work, obviously,
Yeah.
we have to make a living for ourselves and our children, but there is a sacrifice in building their business. It is. You know what I mean? And that sacrifice is well worth it. It's worthwhile.
Awesome. I like what the conversation's going, but I want to touch a lot on you as a connector. What
Yes,
does
yes.
this mean? Yes, I know we have the financial literacy part and the
Right, right,
reading
right.
part. To the audience, to myself, I come to you, Nicole, connect me. What should I expect? What's
What does
happening here?
what does this mean, right? Honestly, it means connect the dots.
Okay.
Literally, it means what is it that you're looking for that is within my area of expertise, of course, right? Because I'm not a baker, I don't do taxes, and I think that's a lot of we could have another conversation on that all day about people going and
Yeah.
in all directions. But based on my expertise, what is it that I can assist you with, right? What is it that you have the ideas that are jumbled around in your head and you need someone to connect them to where they make sense, to make them actionable to where you can go out and find results from all those ideas. So
Perfect.
basically yeah, that's what it means. You come to me when you're just kind of all over the place, right, Nicole? I do want to start a savings for my child. What does that even mean? Nicole, I do want living benefits, but I don't make a lot of money. Everybody says you have to just have these thousands of dollars. We're going to sit down, we are going to look at your situation specifically, and we're going to come up with a solution based on you. I'll give you an example. Like I said, I'm a licensed financial services professional. A few times or many times you'll get that person, I saw it was $1 million policy for $5 a month. Okay. So the bank also said that you could get this house for 2%. When you get to the bank, you can't just ask for the 2%. You have to qualify,
Right.
right? You have to give them the information that needs that makes sure and let them know that you qualify for that 2%. You saw that commercial saying $5 for $1 million policy. That's equivalent to clickbait. And if we don't know what clickbait is, just something out there that's dangling that little claret to get you in and make sure you're like, oh, okay, I could get this. And then when you come, it's something totally different. It's not even anything what they said. And like a bait and switch, right? Clickbait is a new terminology, but what we grew up on is bait and switch,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so that's pretty much what the connector means. I want to connect the dots for you, not for everyone else. I want to stay in my lane. I want to use my area expertise, and I want you to get results from what it is that you need or what it is that you're looking for.
So you're the financial connector.
Yes,
Okay.
financial connector.
Yes.
Yes, I'm the financial connector. So that is my area where I want to help you.
Yeah.
What another example, living benefits. I teach a lot on that. People, it's a new terminology. It's been out for a few decades. But what does that mean? So sometimes, people think that the worst thing is death. But in actuality, it's not true.
Yeah.
The worst thing is getting into a major accident or a major disease or a major critical injury. You can't work, you don't have money, now you're a burden to your family because you were the main provider or you were a provider. And now your money's gone, no one can take care of you. What are you going to do? And vice versa, even if you're single.
Yeah.
So living benefits is an opportunity to where you can replenish that money and you can take care of yourself as well. So something like that, right? So yes, I'm the financial connector and letting you know that there are options no matter what your income range is. And there are options to where you can set your children up for success, even if that's not what your life looked like as you were growing up.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. new business owner, or someone scrolling through Facebook, they come across
Yes.
you. They know you as the financial connector. You're going to help me. I'm a
Right.
mother. I have a family. My husband and I
Yes.
are working, or maybe they are at home and the husband is
Right.
working, or the spouse is working, whichever
Right.
the situation is. Um, I come across him like, this is interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the first step? I connect with you, I reach out in your DM. What would you say to me? Like outside of great, let's meet up or whatever. So you got me in a virtual coffee chat for your
Yeah.
strategy session or something for 10 minutes.
Yeah, virtual coffee chat before we do an actual consultation. The main thing I would ask you is what exactly are you looking for? What
Mm,
is and you may not know how to get there, which is perfectly fine. That's why you're intrigued, right? But what is it that you're looking for? Nicole, I want to make sure my family's protected. Nicole, I want to make sure my child doesn't have anything to worry about when they're financially. When they get of age, I want to make sure they can pay for a house. I want to make sure they can buy a car. And I want to make sure they can do these things just for some reason in case they don't want to go to school. Because that's another thing, right? It's like, oh my gosh, school, 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 school. But what if you have a child that doesn't want to go to school?
yeah,
Then what? Right? So that would be the first thing because you want to make sure that number one, I'm the person that can help you. And you also want to make sure that, like I said, we are aligned. I'm acting in my area of expertise and I'm not trying to guide you on something that I have no knowledge on.
yeah.
So that would be my first line of defense in order for us to have a conversation. So that's what our first little quick virtual chat would look like in the beginning.
Okay, I love it. So now
Yes.
we had this coffee chat. I'm like, yes, I'm geared up. I have $0, how much ever,
Hmm.
thousands in debt. Um,
Right.
have an idea. Maybe, you know what, I can build a business
Right.
in, I don't know, whatever the business is on social media, right? For
Right.
my family to help support my family.
Right.
How long does that take for me to work with you? Like I said, okay, let's work together. What can you help me with in terms of like your program, for example, or your
Right.
school?
So full disclosure, as far as programs, I actually don't have a program to help with that, but in a situation like that, because that's not something I would promote, but a situation like that, I would honestly find out what you're passionate about. I would find out what you're passionate about as we're discovering or as we're discussing your passion. What is it that you know how to do very well? And the next question after that, how can we mesh those things together and put it into a purposeful and put it into a successful business, right? So let's say, and this is just an easy one, right? So you have somebody that they just love to bake. They love to bake. All their family says their cakes are amazing. You need to start a bakery. You just need to go full fledged and do it. Well, of course, I'm not going to suggest that you open a bakery because number one, you don't have any money for the bakery, right? But have you started at the kids' PTA? Have you gone to Walmart asking them, can you set up a table? Have you gone out and actually made a form, a order form of someone who wants your cakes? And someone who's starting off minimal like that, I wouldn't say go crazy. A lot of times we see, I don't know about you, when I go to a restaurant and I see 1,000 items on the menu, I get frustrated because it is it's way too many options. Then when you come to take my order, I'm gonna feel like I'm missing out on something because I'm like, this looks good, that looks good. But then I'm like, well, I don't know why you have this on the menu. Do you do this well? Because this is kind of over here to the left. So I would suggest something like maybe we start with like 2 to 3 items, right? So basically, what we're doing, we have your passion together. We have your skill set that we know that these cakes that you prepare are not going to be burnt because I'm not making them because I'm not a baker. I'm not a baker. I love to cook, but I am not a baker. So we know that, your dough rises at a certain level and you know what to do, right? So how are we putting those things together? Next, what about your child's school? What about, they have parents' nights out where sometimes, I don't know, I haven't seen it lately, but I remember a few years ago, some schools will actually offer a meal for the night. After they come, it's 7 o'clock. People don't want to cook. Can you offer those cakes to go along with that meal? I'm basically telling you to go the road that's less traveled, right? Because the most person wouldn't do that. So basically, we're taking all of these bits and pieces of information and we're building your puzzle together. So that's what something like that would look like.
Awesome. And you know what? That's going back to the basics, right? That's going an old school term for the new generation. That's called knocking on doors. That's what it is. You got to like show up. Yeah, you got to knock on those doors because and do the work. Yes, I know we have the emails and we have the texts and all of these things, but it's very different when you walk into a building and you see somebody and somebody sees you, because how we are presented right away, they have an assumption, right? They either know, like, and trust you, like within, I think it was like 10 seconds or 3 seconds or however many other seconds it is. And then if they already know you and you're part of the community and your children are involved in uh, programs, guess what? They're going to say, yeah, you want to set up your bakery shop? Not bakery shop, but your baked goods, you want to see, like, test it out? That's fantastic. Now, there may be some forms you sign, but there's nothing wrong with starting off small, testing the market, seeing how popular it is, and then, of course, building up your clientele. You can still do your YouTube thing and Instagram or TikTok stuff, right? Because that's content that you don't have to try to create. And this is how you grow and you can get your orders. But that financial ecosystem, that financial connecting of the dots of what your specialty, that is what's going to help them. Because in business and in life, if your finances are like not connected, nothing is going to be connected at all.
No, it's true. And you touched on something very good when you're saying content is king, right? We know we need the content. But I think a lot of times when people have products and things, they think that they're going to get online with their content and it's going to fly off the shelves.
Yeah, no.
And you have to, it doesn't work that way. And we know it doesn't work that way. And all these ads, I know we do a lot of marketing and advertising on Facebook, but all those sponsored ads, you're someone who doesn't have money. So now you're trying to get online with your cakes and all these other things going against these bakeries that have marketing dollars,
Yeah.
or these individuals that have marketing dollars whose content is going to be seen up top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they had some kind of influencer tell you that this is the best cake ever, you need to buy it. You don't have access to that. So you need to, like you said, boots to the ground. You need to do what is uncommon. And the reason why that works, honestly, now, I'll tell you something, and I don't know how it is in Canada, but in New York, which this wasn't even a thing when I moved to Georgia over 20 years ago. In New York, actually this year is 20 years ago. We eat street food, right? That's
Yeah.
normal. Food trucks been a thing, food carts, the hot dog cart. When I first moved to Georgia, there was no such thing as food trucks, food carts, food on the street. And I'm like, y'all don't do that. And they're like, oh, I don't do that. There are so many people selling food out their cars, food out the pop-up shop. Somebody done drag their little grill down the street.
Yeah.
They in somebody's gas station. And you know what? There's no way that they would make that type of money trying to tell you to get an order. Now, there are people that do it.
Yeah.
There are people like, hey, pre-orders only, and it works for them. But I'm talking about these people who they may not be IG savvy. They may not be Facebook savvy, but you know what? They can grill a good rib and they're going to sell out when they pull up in that gas station.
No, and that's it. People forget to go back to the basics. We live in a time now, and in a lot of the countries where it's easy, it's luxurious. And people don't recognize that they're living this luxurious lifestyle. But there are many people who are still knocking on doors. They are hustling, and people forget that all over the world. Whatever the economy is, there's always that person that's like, I have a family that I need to take care of, or they're taking care of their community, right? So if you're doing that, they're hustling literally, and they're saying, what skills I have, what can I do? I'm the best baker. I'm gonna bake and I'm gonna sell this stuff. People are gonna buy it. Why? Because They need to have that finance so they can support their family, so they can send their kids to whatever school, because your children can have all the straight A's that they want. Your children can be part of the community and doing all the service stuff that you want, and they can get far and succeed. But then there are just certain things that you just need money to take to that next level. And if you don't have the money, sometimes there is that little, it takes either a very long time or it just hinders you, because when you're in that space where you're like, I need the money for this next step, a lot of people, because we don't have that mental resilience, knows how to stay the course, and then they shut down, and then things are challenging and tough, and there's that cycle. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, it's social media is horribly amazing. Right? What does that mean? Horribly amazing. Social media, you could be whoever you want to be. It's the biggest catfish. You have the issues of comparison, right? You're comparing where your business should be against another business where honestly you don't really know if they're profitable, right? Also, if they are a profitable business, you don't know how long they've been at it, because I think erroneously, businesses don't show you when they were down on the bottom, which they should. They should show you 10 years ago where they had two people show up at that event to where now it's sold out and there's a wait list for the next event that is a year away. You know what I mean? And I think that people don't honor that enough. We are instantaneous. I want it now. Success better be instant. $1 million better be instant. I want it now. And not to get too preachy or go back to the Bible, but it's kind of like, if you do not steward this little bit that I'm giving you properly, you are going to just famish and throw everything away. That when it comes to, you won't be ready for it. Mentally, you won't be ready for it. Financially, you won't be ready, in a sense of you won't be able to properly make the best financial decisions, right? And I think it's really, really important that we understand that growth takes time. There's only certain things that, and not to be funny, one of those things is sex. If you're selling sex, if you're selling anything of that nature, that's going to grow. And we know for the majority of us, that's nowhere near, that's not what we're looking to do. And that's not in our cipher. And that's not what our focus is. So it is going to take time to put that work in. There was, what's her name? She actually got canceled for some nonsense. Geez, she has a Paula Dean. Paula Dean. Um, a huge conglomerate. I mean, she literally made the Food Network. Paula Dean got divorced from her son's father. She used to make, I think, these chicken salad sandwiches or something. It was literally two items. It was a chicken salad sandwich and something else. So they lived in an apartment complex. I don't know if it was in Savannah, but wherever it was. Long story short, she used to go every day to the little offices and ask them, did they want to buy lunch? Did they want to buy her chicken salad sandwiches? Then she sent the boys, her two sons, to wherever to ask. From that, and of course, obviously different, but from that is where she started getting her notoriety, where she started to become the Paula Dean that we know. Now, later on down the line, we're not going to talk about the rise and the fall, but just to give that example, like, I'm the type of person, if you're not hurting anybody, as you stated earlier, if you're keeping your morals, if you're not doing anything crazy, I'm going to tell you to jump out the window. I am. Jump out the window, make all the mistakes, and just fix it as you go. Because if you never put it out, if you never jump out the window, number one, you don't even know what your potential clients or customers want, because you didn't give them anything to choose from. You didn't give them anything. Nicole, this cake, next time it's too chocolatey. Go a little lighter. Or, I would have ordered 5 of these if you didn't put that caramel on there. Or it need a little bit more. You don't know because you ain't even put it out there. So jump out the window. It is okay. Jump out the window. You're not hurting. Just 3 things. You're not hurting nobody. It's not illegal and it's not immoral. Jump out the window. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, good example with Pauline, how she started, right? She went knocking on doors. And you mentioned that
Yes.
not many people talk about when they rise. And there's Billionaire, his name is Dan Lo. I did a
Hmm.
couple of courses and programs and stuff with him. And he has all these
Hmm.
different tiers now. He sells high ticket stuff and trains some very top leaders in industry. Um,
Yeah, I
anyway,
believe it.
one of the things that he shares was in the beginning when he started doing events, he literally
Hmm.
sold two tickets, two people. He rented at a hotel, like a hotel
Yeah.
conference room, and only two tickets sold. One was his mother, one was his friend, and then of course himself, right? And he said instead of
Right.
like hosting the event there, he ended up taking them all to lunch. But he's like,
Mhm.
that's when I started my first event. It was
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
spent all that money, but that's what he got.
Right.
And he knew that events was the way. Now, of course, he's a billionaire. He mentors so many. He's been
Right.
mentored by the $1 trillion man out in the UK. If you don't know who that is, Google him.
Hmm.
And
I
and
will.
so
Yeah, I'll have to
see
find out
that,
who that is.
yeah, the $1 trillion guy. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
Google it. You will see all kinds. He's very old school and rough
Hmm.
around the edges, but he's not there to make friends. Of
Right.
course,
He's
how
there to make the trillions,
yeah,
clearly.
he's there to help you make
He's there
the
to make
money
the
so then he
trillions.
can get the trillions. And of course, because he is old school,
Right.
his language is very it's not PC. I'll just leave it like that in terms
Yeah.
of how he's because
Yeah.
he's speaking to more of a male towards a male audience. Speaking
Right.
towards more of a
Right.
male audience. So there's that. I want to thank you so much for being
Yes.
here today.
Thank you.
I before we
Yes.
wrap up, what is one message, one thing that you could share to anyone out there that says, you know what, I want to know this financial connector. I want to
Yeah.
be I want to be a conscious leader in my home, and I need to get
Yes.
my finances in check. What is like one or two sentences you could say?
Um, well, I'm gonna touch on actually you saying you want to be a conscious leader in your home. Have a money meeting. People are scared of it. They don't want to do it. Especially even if you don't have a spouse, even if it's you and your child. Have a money meeting. What is a money meeting, Nicole? This is what we're working with. This is our budget that we work with every month. This is what we spend on XYZ on food, on entertainment. This is literally break it down to the penny if you can, because what's going to happen is you're giving everyone else who bites into the money pie, you're giving them that knowledge, and now they have to be like, oh wow, mommy said we only got $5 for me to get a game today, and it's true,
Yeah.
right? It's true. So I would definitely say have a money meeting, and the next thing I would say is reach out to me.
And
That's the next
following
thing
up
I
on
would
that,
say.
how do we get in contact with you?
Yes, so you can follow me at, well, I'm Nicole Nunez on Facebook. Sinlin Solutions Group is my company. And you can email me, Nicole at sinlensolutions.com, CINLENSOL. So, oh Lord, look, I'm spelling solutions.
That's okay. Don't worry about it because you know what? All of this information, all of her contact information and the links, it is going to be in the caption. And so all you have to
Yes,
do is just
yes, yes,
click where you want
yes.
to
Just
connect with,
click.
and then connect
Yes,
with her.
and I'm right here.
And she's right there. Well, I
Yeah,
thank you, Nicole, the financial connector, for connecting with
thank
us
you.
today, for sharing your
Yes, absolutely.
expertise, for sharing your wisdom. And I love that tidbit of being a conscious leader in the home. That was one of
Yes,
the best tidbit that I have received. So thank you
yes,
very much. And I do that at home, actually. Do this with my daughter every quarter. We have this
yes,
conversation. Um,
absolutely.
yes, and
And
if
I know you can see the I know you can see the difference. Faith is very, very intelligent young lady. And thanks to you, she started early. So I know when you have these conversations with her, it gets through to her, and you can see how she makes conscious decisions with her money, right? Or with just in general. It trickles on to other areas of your life, even
yeah,
though you may not see it. If you're conscious about it later on, like you don't start making these decisions after. So that's
You,
very good.
you
But
know,
thank you so much for having me as a guest. I appreciate it.
you're
The
welcome.
opportunity.
I'm going to share something. I wasn't going to share this, but
Mhm.
so they might cut me off when they're editing. But
Okay.
one of the things I want to share is that, and you were saying about being that conscious financial connector and having that. When Faith
Hmm.
was 2 years old, this is when I introduced this in the home with her.
Hmm.
She saw a scooter. It was a unicorn scooter that, for
Uh-huh.
the new generation that don't know, they used to have catalogs back in the day, like the little
Right,
magazine.
right,
And she saw this. This was some
right.
years ago. This was when the bookstore by us.
Hmm.
Barnes and Nobles used to have it. Indigo used to have it. They don't do that anymore. They said they're saving
Uh-huh.
paper. So she would
Right,
flip through it because I am a avid member and of course a
right,
client. So
right.
any special activities, I get it. And she was flipping through and she saw it. And every time for like about 2 weeks, she was like, Mom, unicorn scooter. Now, because the TV was on the family station, I thought it was
Hmm.
one of those advertisements that they would have. So she would say this like when I'm doing dishes, maybe she's eating something, sweeping the floor. So I
Hmm.
don't see it. And
Right,
when I turn around, I'm like, oh, I missed it. I'll get it another time. Now,
right.
I don't know what was going on in her head. And finally, I was at the computer. She was eating something. And before I sat down, I was sending out a quick message. And
Uh-huh.
she's like, Mom, the unicorn scooter. And I looked up, but a show was playing. But she had
Hmm.
this magazine on her table flipping through, and I couldn't see it because there were like toys and stuff around. So she had it
Right, right,
in
right.
her toys. Um, and on the table, and she was eating something. So then she's like, "No, unicorn scooter." And I looked down at it, and I saw at the time it was like $50 or something for this scooter, and it was around Christmas
Hmm.
time, December time. No, sorry,
Yes.
November, December time. So I looked at her and
Hmm.
I said, "Hey, this is great, but you have to work for it." And I go,
Hmm.
that means you could help out around the house and I will give you money. And that's when I started
Right,
negotiating. This is how she was
right,
introduced to negotiation. So she
right.
was like, oh, I help out, you pay me? I say, yes. I was like, what's your pay? And she say $2. That was her thing, because I don't know, $2 was it. I was like,
Right,
all
right,
right. I
right.
go, you could help. This was before Sparkle passed. She was like, you could help
Right.
Sparkle with making sure she has fresh water, food. You
Mhm.
could help take out the garbage. You could walk with me,
Yeah.
nothing too heavy. She said, I do dishes. I like, you could do your own dishes because
Yes,
it don't break.
yes. Right,
And
right, right.
she did that. She thought about it. 48 hours
Yeah.
later, she's in my mom's house. Now I shared this story before, but she was in my
Uh-huh.
mom's house, and my mom was doing laundry, and she was like cleaning up. It was a Saturday, and she was spending time
Right.
with my mom. So my mom putting soap. Oh, I do it. I do. Like getting,
Uh-huh.
oh, I do, right? And she was taking out a box. She held one little box
Yes,
to help her to take it to
yes.
the garbage. I do.
Mhm.
She rinses the dish. So my mom was so
Uh,
excited, like, wow, Faith is so helpful, which she is. And my mom had cancer
yes,
at the time. So,
yes. Of
she's
course.
thinking, this is just so like, wow, Faith is incredible. Time to sleep. She's already bathed. She's lying on bed. She said, oh, mama. She calls my mom, mama. Mama,
Right.
I need $2. And her
Uh-huh.
mom's like, for what? She said, my mommy say I help, I get $2.
They don't forget anything.
They
Let me
don't
tell you
forget
something.
anything.
They
No.
don't forget not a thing.
Listen, I
They do
was
not
supposed
forget
to
anything.
be enjoying my day off, like just time for myself that evening, a couple hours. I get a phone call 8:30 at night. Let me tell you, you owe your daughter $2. And if you're like from the black brown community, you all
Right,
know
right,
like we
right.
get that phone call. Oh, you owe your child money for what? She
Right, right,
said,
right.
you said. So my mom,
Exactly.
and my mom is
Grandma's gonna make sure it's taken care of. You're not gonna jip her baby or no
yeah.
money. Not at
Well, and then my mom said to Faith straight up, she said, I did not make a deal with you. So we speak to her not like, babe, you just talk to her
all. Of
normal.
course.
I did not make this
Absolutely.
deal with you. You chose to help me. So I don't owe you $2. Your mom owes you $2, right? So first
Right,
lesson in negotiations, who are you
right.
negotiating with? But
Yes, yes.
who are you negotiating? But
Like, who are you negotiating with? That negotiation doesn't carry on
yeah,
just a long way. So no, that's good. But look, that's proving my point, right? She talked about the unicorn, which we taught her cost money, which you taught her cost negotiation, but it all stemmed around it started financial first.
it
So
sounded
that's that meeting, it goes a long way, and
It
you
goes
can
a
see
long way.
the
The
changes
result.
and the things that it's applied to.
And so she did every day, helped out. My mom ended up giving her the $2, but I never pushed her. My mom never pushed her to say, help out, you'll get $2. She did it on her
Right.
own because she wanted that unicorn scooter. And
Yes.
my aunt actually invested. She never asked my aunt, but my aunt knew because, of course, with family, we talk about, oh no, she
Right, right,
moved
right,
out
of course.
and she's working towards her unicorn scooter. So everyone's like, 2 year olds working
Right.
towards it? Yeah. Like, why don't you buy it? I'm like, no, why? Why should I buy it? She has enough stuff. She doesn't need anything. Some
Right.
people might think it's cruel. I don't think it's cruel.
No,
No.
it's not at all. Especially in the sense of, like you said, they have a million toys. They're not going to miss. If this is something that they want, it is a perfect time and
Yeah.
example to teach them lessons or to use it as a lesson. Absolutely. I 100% agree
And
because, like Faith, Kai is an only child. So we already know all the stuff that we got in
yeah,
this house with these only kids. So, yes, I agree.
yeah.
You don't need this scooter, but you could work for it if you want
You
it
can
that
work for it.
bad.
And because every day she collected her $2, and then she got an investment from her aunt, I think it was like $5 or $10 or something like that, which is
Mhm.
like a huge percent from what she got from
Right,
that
right,
one investment. Um,
right.
she made that money in like less than 30 days. Because when you think about it, 2 times 7, right? 14,
Right,
add up. Like you're making money, plus you
exactly,
got investments.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
and I remember it was a snowy day and it was in January, I think it was January 27th or 28th of 2019.
Mhm.
That's when she went and she got it. And you know what? She walked around the whole store and I have pictures
Amazing.
of that day. And the moment when she had to go in her purse and pay that money to
Yes,
and they knew I was coming because I asked them and, I
of
said,
course.
because I wanted her to have that experience. And I was
Right,
like, you ready? She's like, yep. She sat on the counter. She had her purse open and she couldn't even take the money out because I think it was just like, because she went with me to the bank to change the
right,
$2 to real dollars. She had to take the change,
right, right,
transfer it to dollars. And now she has to
right,
thank you for this. And she got the money back and she kept the receipt and she helped build
right,
it. She stood there because she wanted it
right.
built. So we had to go in the food court, build it up.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
And
She
she was
wanted the full experience. She's
the
like, "I worked for this. I'm riding out of here on my scooter. We're not taking it home and putting it together."
we're not. And she
Right.
literally, well, she fell asleep almost like scootering out, and that's okay because
Yes,
that's what happens. But that experience was
absolutely.
the beginning of exactly what you mentioned and what you
Yeah,
said. And it does work, which stemmed from that first experience, stemmed into a few months later when she was 3 years old, saying to me, Mom, I'm a superhero doctor, leading to
right,
her writing the children's book and to where we are as a business right now, Faith in Sparkle's World. So, anyways,
right.
thank you so much for sharing your
Yes, thank
insights
you
and
so
your
much.
wisdom.
Yes, yes. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's coming more from you, Faith and us. And I really am excited about this new relationship that we've built. And like I said, thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Don't forget to click that notification bell. And I will see you in another episode next week. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.